Welcome to the Tenaciously Resolute Podcast. Hi, and welcome back to the Tenaciously Resolute Podcast. Guys, I miss you all, and I hope you miss me too. I am sitting on set today with my good friend, Miss Shivon Mejias, and we're here to talk all about, well, I could say a wide range of experiences. We're here talking about the Reset Touch with Shivon Mejias, which is her brand of Soothing Touch massages. We're here to talk about her trip to Ghana, as well as a book that was birthed out of that trip and a few other experiences that you guys get to learn all about in this episode. So, hi, Shivon, and welcome to the Tenaciously Resolute Podcast. How are you?
Good morning and good morning to all the viewers. I am wonderful. Thank you for having me.
All right, Gil, it's absolutely a pleasure, and it's been a long time coming.
Indeed.
All right, so here's what I have been following your experiences for quite a while, and on many different spaces that you've had your hands in, there was so much interest, right? But what stuck out to me first, and I'm probably assuming that a lot of us here on the island and probably even all over the world may have seen your amazing work that you've done with your massages. Tell me a little bit about it.
Okay, so I no longer refer to it as a massage because it's so much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's coined the reset experience with me, Shivon
Mm.
Mejias. And what sets it apart is I don't use a sheet or a towel on the table. I oil it instead, and then I use the person's body weight to reset them. It also
Okay.
starts at the feet. It works its way up. It includes gentle stretches. If you have gas strap, we'll get it out. Poor circulation, emotion strapped, you name it. It's a one-on-one experience that goes beyond traditional times. When we get in there, it's just us until you have a complete reset.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a timed.
No,
I
it's
know
not
normally.
timed.
Wow.
Sometimes it takes 2 hours, 3 hours. I even did one for 4 hours since I came back. Yeah.
Wow.
You never know what's hiding in your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So how did you manage to hone this skill?
Well, I first in 2005, I think. I was about 18, 19 years old, and I met this guy who happened to have a school with his brother in New York for massage. Actually, his name was Guy, and
Mm-hmm.
he was on the island working. I was looking to see how I can make some extra income. There were many Germans in Tobago at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the idea, wow, I could ask him, maybe he could teach me this massage.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I could do it and make a little change. Now, I always loved touch though, because when I was maybe 7 years old, my mom had this friend who did reflexology.
Mm-hmm.
She would have taught me it, and everybody was lining up for me to do their feet till I became overwhelmed. Right? 5 siblings, I became overwhelmed, and I forgot about that. But the desire for hugs, touch, love was always there. So when he taught me the massage one on one, we had dial-up internet back then. They sent this email with the exam stuff. I remember
Yeah.
it, and he graded me, and I got my certificate from there. But after that, shortly after, I met this Hawaiian therapist who came to Tobago as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when she booked her Swedish massage, which is what I initially learned,
Mm-hmm.
she ended up teaching me her Lomi Lomi through that session instead. Yeah, it was really,
Wow.
yeah, it was really unexpected.
That is quite a turn of events.
Yeah, so I would say from maybe 2007, I have been doing this untraditional, non-traditional massage where I'm
Mm-hmm.
oiling the table like in how they do it in the Hawaiian Lomi Lomi. And then, of course, over the years, you develop your own style and techniques. You would be able to learn, the body and stuff.
Okay. So what is the purpose of oiling the table? Because you said it, you picked that up via the Hawaiian
Yeah.
client that you had. What did she explain to you that it
So
does?
the oil of the table is to allow the person to remain on their back. So imagine you come for a back reset. You're going to be laying on your back and I'm doing your back. You're not on your tummy as in a traditional way. So the oil will allow me to slip my hands under your back. It actually starts from the glutes because the sciatic nerve runs through the glutes. So we're going to start from the glutes and come up toward the shoulder. If you could visualize it. You wouldn't have
So
to
it's
lift
almost like
your...
a cupping
No,
motion, is it?
it's like you are laying on the table like this. Here's
Uh-huh.
my hand under, coming all the way up.
That requires a lot of oil
A lot of oil. Yeah,
because
I
that's
use about 8 ounces of oil for every reset. Yeah, a whole bottle almost.
oh wow.
Yeah, but it's not very oily, like oil dripping on the ground or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because, well, most people sadly are dehydrated.
So your body absorbs a
It
lot of it.
absorbs a lot, and then once you, like, say, use the restroom in between, which happens at times, like if I drain the lymph,
Yeah.
they will go. By the time they wrap the sheet around and come back, it's fresh oil again to be
Yeah.
applied. It's not an extremely oily experience, even though we use that much oil.
Mm.
Because I also, if you have like hairy, like men, for example, hairy
Yeah.
legs and stuff, you have to put a good amount of oil so it's a pleasant
So,
experience.
yeah. So it also penetrates
Yeah, and so
that
it wouldn't
barrier.
like hurt the
Yeah.
hair, wouldn't be abrasive.
Okay, very,
Yeah,
very interesting. Well, I do know that massages often take up a good amount of oil.
yeah.
So for some reason your body absorbs that, which
Yeah,
is
we are
quite
dehydrated. It's very hot here. We're supposed to be
yeah,
drinking extra, yeah.
extra water. Wow. So with your massage techniques that you've honed over the years, what are some of the experiences that would have stuck out to you? What were some of the things that you were able to achieve?
Okay, well, I would say from about say 2015 around there, which would have been like 10 years in, um only because I had a shift, as in I had an encounter spiritually, right? And then I did a fasting for the first time in my life. I should say I used to have a broken neck, right, from a very bad car accident, just to make this really simple. And I didn't really believe in that scripture that said, by your stripes I've been made whole. I didn't think that was like for me anyway. I didn't think that was a literal thing, right? But long story short, my sister, she took me to a church and I prayed myself. I did not allow laying of hands. I was afraid of those things.
Yeah.
And then I went back to therapy. I used to go to therapy in Goodwood. And then the doctor said, wow, you look so different. After that, I realized that I was healed. I used to have a broken neck according to the MRI. And after that healing, I did a fast for the first time. And then I realized I was saying to the clients, oh, you have gas strap there. And I became afraid, like, what? How do you know that, right?
Yeah.
But from then, when I actually embraced it, like in 2017, I did a 40-day fast first time. And last time, it was something that I know I had help with from the Holy Spirit for sure. Because to go 40 days a night without food is just not possible for me. And I really love food, right? After that, it was like, we have now experiences where persons had the ink in their body from the checking their organs, the dye that they
The
put in.
dye when they do is it a CAT scan or is it
Yeah,
a
the
CT?
CAT scan, the CT scan,
Yeah,
whatever they do,
yeah.
right? And on two instances, and also when I came back as well, that dye came out onto the sheets. And that was like we were praying during the session. We were doing it together. Like I was just in agreement with the client then. I don't force religion. I'm not religious. I wouldn't say it's religion, right? It's a relationship with God.
Yeah.
And I don't force it onto anybody. But if the person is a believer and they
Of
desire
course.
to agree,
Yeah.
right? So that stood out to me. Also, we had experiences like with persons, like it was kind of somatic, like really releasing their emotion, whether they were
So a
crying a
kind of
lot.
somatic type of experience.
Yeah, this reset literally adapts to you. So I can't tell you upfront what will happen if you laugh, if you cry. Some people threw up. Like it depends on what you're going through at the time, and I can't know upfront. But I always pray first to cover me. I don't do any rituals, no lighting candles, nothing like that. It's just purely a gift, and because my neck was healed, that increased my faith to the extent where I believe. So I think that makes a difference as well.
That certainly makes a difference once the Holy Spirit is in it.
Yeah.
As far as I am concerned, because I too am a believer, anything is possible, and an agreement in prayer
It's really powerful.
is really powerful. So I could definitely see how that would transcend a regular massage,
Yeah.
procedure.
Yeah, I really can't take the glory, so I had
And
to.
absolutely, and you're absolutely correct,
Yeah.
because to me, once God is involved, the final product is always amazing, and it always supersedes what your expectation could have ever been.
True.
Yeah. But it is nice to know that every client has their own experience, and that you're not just going in for something standard. You're going in to really work through whatever issues are happening uniquely to you.
Yes.
Because I guess every single person is going to have
Yes.
their own issues where that is concerned. Yeah? So after doing this massage therapy and this particular style of reset for a while, are there any spaces that you think that you would like to explore more of to boost in your learning, or do you plan to teach it? What do you think?
Yeah, well, before I left, I was teaching a chair massage, which is called Reset on the Go. It's like a signature I have where I will go into events. Like since I came back, I went into Tobago Beyond, for example. I would go into events. I went to the picnic cake thing and just do this quick reset, which you sit in, relieving any sort of headaches, any sort of tension, upper back with stretches. I teach that as well officially to groups. I usually keep the classes small, like say no more than 10 persons, 12 persons. I would be introducing that soon, but I also want to now introduce something like a intimacy connection massage for couples. It's not going to be sensual, but it's going to focus more on connection, and it's going to be, face to face, and starting with the hands and teaching persons touch beyond the bedroom, then touch that connects, touch that sets the stage for real deep intimacy. That's what I have on the pipeline
That
for
actually
this
sounds
year.
very, very interesting, because I know there's a lot of conversation in the adult space of, intimacy starting long before the bedroom,
Yes.
intimacy in terms of the way that you talk with each other, the way that you touch, the way that you operate in terms of sharing burdens,
Yes.
joining in with someone in their experiences. So perhaps I'm outside looking at a tree and I'm like, wow, this tree is very beautiful. You join me and actually observe and sit with the moment.
Yes.
So it's nice to see that we're having intimacy massages now with couples, because I mean, anything to boost an excellent marriage, in my book.
That's
I am always for it, because at the end of the day, I've always felt like marriage is something that you have to constantly keep working on.
True.
It's not just a covenant that's just going to be sitting, but you have to work on it actively. Maintenance. So that is wonderful.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm also working on like a merch. My first merch, it will be catering to plus size persons, not just women, because well, me being plus size and desiring to become a bit healthier, I have found some challenges with some of the equipments that are catered to, smaller sizes, and it can be uncomfortable to use. So I'm working on a surprise coming up for plus size, for us to come down in comfort, and just bring more awareness to healthier eating. The reset lifestyle is the whole umbrella that I'm under. And so we have different avenues to explore.
Very nice. So with all of this, I want to know what led you to Ghana. Because, guys, let me let you all know. We have been looking at Shivon's trips online, and we've been seeing Ghana, Thailand, and so many different interactions and experiences. And when I tell you, it was just simply mind-blowing to see, that you could leave pick up from Tobago and you could go and explore the world and learn so much while you're there. So Shivon is going to tell us all about the things that she experienced, and not just what you experienced, but what you took from it that would have bettered things in your life. So how did you get from Tobago to Ghana again?
Well, what happened was I had to move from the place where I was living. I was living there for maybe 10 years. And
Yeah.
I knew that having Jade and then working out of home, I would have needed a three-bedroom apartment. When I looked at the cost of rent for a three-bedroom apartment in Tobago, it was like about 6,000 or so. And I thought to myself, better I go travel and, use that 6,000 a month to learn something and do something. At the time, I didn't really have much savings, and so I decided I'll have to sell everything. So I sold my car, I sold everything I owned, wash and dry everything, because I had to move anyway. I
Mm-hmm.
took all of that funds. Plus, I worked really, really hard before I left as well. And I was wondering, where do I go? So first I went to Guyana, and it wasn't the right fit. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't as, affordable as persons thought. For example, a doubles was 12 TT,
At
right?
doubles.
Yeah, it was expensive.
Ah, child. You see why you must leave people with their things?
It
Wow.
was a 3D guy doing the doubles too.
What a ripoff.
No, but
Just
that's the
imagine
that's the
that.
economy over there. It's really
It's really
expensive. Yeah.
expensive. Wow. I didn't know that, because I too I have Guyana on my bucket list. And hear me thinking, if I could do some of these other Caribbean islands, Guyana should be a walk in the park.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
was a
know.
very affordable flight, but then
Ah,
accommodation, especially transportation, was the most expensive part. But if you
wow.
have people on the ground, it should be manageable, if you know. But
Okay.
if you have tourists paying everything,
It's
it's
gonna be
US
expensive.
prices, yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
when I came back here, I said, okay, well, that's not where I'll be. Then one of my friends had a sister living in Ghana, so I ended up chatting with her, and she sold me on Ghana. It was, yeah, I'm gonna go, right?
Mm.
When I got to Ghana, you want to know the route I took to go?
Yeah, no
I just
problem.
went from Tobago direct to New York, and then New York overlay in Kenya. We came out, had a tour like feeding giraffes, that kind of thing, and then we
Mm.
went from Kenya to Ghana. Right. When we got to Ghana, the person, my friend at the time, sister, she wasn't actually there, but she didn't make it known before. So I
Mm.
ended up now with two local guys that she had introduced me to because something in me just wanted to talk to some locals before I arrived.
Yeah.
And so they welcomed me, and it was everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. That's how it started off.
I could just imagine. So you're all the way across the continent, right? And you're in this new continent, and everything is falling apart.
Yeah, so what happened first, within maybe 2 weeks of arriving, the economy changed. They had a new government, and the CDs, which is their local currency, it changed from 15.5 to 1 US to 10 to 1 US. Immediately, I lost almost 40% of my
Yeah.
savings, and I was like, okay. And then everything now was tourist price. And obviously, I could not pretend to be a local even though I kept my mouth closed. It was
Yeah.
obvious now.
Yeah.
And then everything was very expensive, but I almost gave up. We had a lot of power outages. I was
That's
staying in Tema.
that's common for Kenya and Nigeria.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and West Africa and the whole. Kenya is
Mm.
in the east, but yeah. What happened was we had mosquitoes, we had power outages and
Mm.
different things, even though I had a generator and all that. And I was ready to come home. I said, I'm just going to cut my losses and I'm home. And then Jade, who did not actually like the experience there, she came to my room and she said, Mom, I know you want to go, but I want to go too, but I don't think that's what God wants. And when Jade
Mm.
said that, I knew that was God because there's absolutely no
No
way
way.
this 13-year-old child who wants to go home will tell me no. Right? And from that moment when I just like cried so much and said, okay, well, what do you want then? That
Mm.
when I surrendered like that is when everything began to turn around. And I would say we went from the wilderness to the promised land. I ended up meeting our counselor for Trinidad and Tobago, ended up going to the Volta region. It's so nice over there.
Wow.
Ended up having so many different cultural experiences. I went to a wedding, an engagement party. I went to so many different experiences. I learned to cook. I experienced all the food, and I left there vegetarian in the end. Yeah.
Wow, they converted you so easy.
Well, their culture isn't so much vegetarian. They're more into meat, but something shifted in me. Being vegetarian was a dream of mine, but I didn't think it would ever be possible.
Mm.
I love to eat meat. In fact, I was addicted to fried chicken before I left home, and I
Oh.
was very unhealthy with it because I was working all the time. Church's chicken was 5 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
But going there and not having access to KFC right away, and then slowly becoming more and more in tune with who I am and having such an awakening through pressure, pain, hurts, right? And then trusting God, that caused me to change even my eating
So
as
my
well.
okay, I understand.
Yeah.
But how was their cuisine like? And did you see any similarities between Trinidad and Tobago? And because a lot of us would have come from Ghana. If you ever done like uh, 21 and Me, you would see a lot of Ghanaian heritage popping up, Nigerian, West African heritage popping up. Were there any similarities?
What was most shocking for me, or I would say disappointed as well, is that they all use Maggie. Like Maggie was the main thing there.
Here we know, all of we that watching Nigerian show, we don't know Maggi is the first ingredient. But outside
But
of,
I was shocked
outside,
because they don't have like green seasoning like how we have it. They don't know
they
about
do
it.
the
They
peppers and the
just
onions.
Yeah, they just chop up everything like what they chop up and that's it. But they
Yeah,
don't have like big leaf thyme or anything to make like green seasoning like
herbs.
how we do it. Yeah, but
Yeah,
that was very shocking for me. The whole experience was shocking because I thought I would have seen more like grass and earth, but instead it was like dust and dirt
dirt,
and
clay.
a lot of pollution. No, 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 not clay. Like a lot of development is happening. I think maybe in the next 5 years Ghana would be very, very beautiful. But as of now, they don't have any like garbage bins anywhere. Everyone would drink and drop it on the
On
spot.
the
It
ground.
so much pollution, you'll be shocked, shocked, shocked. I'm talking about in the main major city area, Accra, Tema. I'm not talking about the countryside. In fact, the countryside was actually cleaner when I think about it. The Volta region.
Yeah.
So in terms of the food, it wasn't like the amount of green seasoning we would be accustomed to, but I did fall in love with banku, which
What's
is
that?
banku is like the corn flour, cassava flour. They just keep mixing it and it gets to like a cuckoo consistency.
Is it a fermented thing?
It's fermented, so
Mm,
they throw it in and then they keep mixing it. They just add a little salt
yeah.
and that's it. And I love the tomato stew, right? I didn't really like the okra soup, which was shocking because I love okra, but it was like an unusual amount of slime. Like it
Yeah.
was just pure slime.
I usually see that they stretch it and it's going all
Yeah.
the way here. I said, my God, Jesus, what is this? No, because
Yeah.
I really love the African culture and I usually see, like, I try to look at their recipes because I see a lot of content creators coming out. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of palm oil.
Yeah,
Wow, I
it's
never knew okra could stretch and okra going so they're picking it up from down here and okra reaching sky and come back down. I never knew.
I really found that it was a lot of oil and a lot of Maggi, and that was shocking to me because I thought maybe that it would have been healthier than
Yeah.
us. So that was really surprising, but it was good. I liked their plantains as well. I was introduced to eating boiled eggs with almost every meal,
Hmm.
which was so different. And now it's like, okay, I could just eat boiled eggs with some rice and beans, and I feel satisfied. Whereas before, I might have wanted a set of meat.
They like egg, eh? Plenty.
Egg. I think it's also because of the economy, because
Hmm.
it's kind of expensive for the meat, and so it's
Meat
more affordable for
for
families to
poultry
have
chicken,
eggs.
poultry chickens, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
But I actually liked it though in the end. I was like, no, I actually like boiled egg.
You see how life is to people. Just like that. You left here not really interested in that much. And it's not to say we didn't have.
Yeah,
We
just
we
didn't think
had.
about eating boiled egg with rice. Like, it's just not
Yeah.
our culture now. But it was good. Of course, I had to tell them to add some turmeric and this and that to their banku, and they had a Caribbean version, and it came out yellow, and they actually liked it a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to infuse a little bit of Tobago flavor and make them, taste
You know,
this,
and
taste
I
this.
feel like they would trust your guidance because they all consider us like cousins. I mean, I really loved when I saw I would say probably years ago when they said all Caribbean people can't come home, like we can't go over there and have nationality there because they consider us like that, and that was so cool to me. So if their population, is as caring as their government at the time, or the government now, I'm not sure because you said they changed, right? If that is the case, I hope that they're still welcoming to Caribbean people.
Well, they had put a pause on giving out the visas the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and now they put a price on it that was causing the diasporans to argue a lot. So the year of return, it was going really well. That was in 2019, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, as you know, the government changed and all these things, they started to see it more like, well, you have an advantage because you are away and you have a higher currency. And so now maybe you should contribute a bit more, to our economy. And the average person on the ground, they see it as you are making the prices higher for us, so they're not very much that welcoming to the diasporas, I
Yeah.
would say, which I can
No.
understand their perspective because it is making it higher.
Yeah.
And then Americans, they have a sort of an attitude which I witnessed myself, which is kind of giving a bad name to everybody else. So you want to treat people as though, well, they are nothing, and then you want them to be good to you. So
Yeah. So it's like a kind of Peter pay for Paul situation because is it that the Caribbean, is it that our currency is higher than theirs?
yeah, it's like 2 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now it would be 1 point something to 1.
Yeah.
But even though it's higher, you being a foreigner, you will be charged more anyway.
Yeah. Local prices and international prices is something that
Yeah, but
will always exist.
you could definitely make friends and learn, how to get things better. So
Yeah.
I made some friends, like local friends. I went to smaller towns like a Shyman and blend in with the locals,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to get it for you. If they see you, they would charge more anyway. When the local try to say, well, no, just give it for this correct price, they would tell them you're not being a good Ghanaian to your own brother because they
Yeah.
want them to charge more, But being there for we stayed there for like 7 months. So being there for that long, I had a big interesting change of mind. Like, for example, when I first went there, I had a lot of thoughts like, oh, I feel so much sorry for these people who are poor and without. And then as time passed by, I had a shift in my perspective
Mm-hmm.
where I tried to empower a few persons and then realize that it goes way deeper than that. Is a mindset shift that's needed. And
Everywhere in the world, would
it,
you believe it all boils down to mindset shifts?
yeah, but what was so shocking is that people are mentally in bondage in a way, and they don't realize that they can be entrepreneurs, they can do something. In Ghana, education is very, very big, so a lot of people have masters and that kind of thing. But then when you look at how much they earn, it's very, very sad. Like, they may earn maybe 1,500 TT a month, like some big.
With a master's.
Yeah, and then the
Wow.
quality of life for that, it's non-existent. You would be living on a lower level, that way. And it was heartbreaking. But then when I tried to educate the people who I met, the locals around me,
Mm-hmm.
imagine this, I introduced them to juice, right? Our lime juice from
Yeah.
home. They loved it. They loved it. Over there, they put so much ginger in their juice that all you're feeling is burning of your throat and you can't
Yeah.
taste anything, right? So I made like lime, mix it with some orange and slight ginger, brown sugar. And I said, okay, well, you guys could sell it. You guys could sell this juice and make money and it could
Mm-hmm.
become a thing. And they did. They sold the first batch, and then they didn't buy back more bottles. I actually sat and showed them the whole thing, what to do, how to do it.
Yeah.
And when they came back, they said, oh, well, we didn't buy back the bottles and we don't have. And then I said to them, okay, well, I don't have either.
Yeah.
And I realized it was a mindset.
So they thought that you would keep giving them so that they could start. No. That's a dependency syndrome waiting to happen.
But here's what was interesting, right? At
Mm-hmm.
first, I was thinking it's impossible to get out of a place like this. Think about India, Africa, big continents where you have a lot of poverty, you have a lot, and it's hard to come up. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I was thinking traditionally, because that's how we think. But being there on the ground, I realized it's actually a blessing because they have millions of people. And I gave them simple suggestions, such as charge people just 5 CDs, which is not much money for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
To pick up their lunch and deliver it, because you have about 200,000 people within a very short,
Small
close,
space.
yeah, space where you could just walk about.
Yeah.
Simple things like that I told them to do instead of just being here doing nothing or working for somebody for 600, 300 TT for the month, average salary.
Mm.
Instead of doing this and then you have to now live in their house, just like in the Nigerian movies, you'll be a
Mm.
houseboy.
House.
You had to clean and do all these
Yeah.
things and then go to come
Good.
here and make this small money. This is what you could do. Just offer to deliver lunches, for your friend. They don't need to know how many you're doing. It will add up. I saw power in numbers. You see, like in Tobago, we have 70,000 people. I saw how many millions of people there, and it clicked like, wow, if we have a mindset shift on the continent,
Mm.
they could try to make 2 CDs off of 1 million people on a thing that's needed and just eat little and live long, it will add up. They
Yeah.
have such a great opportunity that we don't have here because they have numbers, but they're not seeing that.
So they have the labor, but they don't have the mindset to actualize the labor.
And I don't think they would be empowered to have the mind. And
Yeah. The reason why I said I felt a little depressed in my mind, right? We're here and we always have this conversation about freeing yourself from mental slavery.
yeah.
And wanting to go back to the motherland
Mm-hmm.
to see the things that we were deprived of. And you're wondering if our mindsets came from a place that you don't understand. Right now in my car, I'm reading a historical book of Africa, but prior to the slave trade, because Africa has always been so much more than the slave. It's almost like the slave trade hijacked what was known of African history, right? So I went and I got this book in Trinidad and I began reading it. And in my mind, I'm like, who are we? Who are we before this tragedy would have happened? And now, when you're speaking about Ghana, and I'm hearing that the mindset of the people are also somewhat stagnated, but they never left. They never left. And we have people right here who left, and God blessed Trinidad and Tobago. God blessed us, right? If you look around this country, we are, if not the best, we are among the best in
True.
the Caribbean.
In the world.
And as a quote unquote third world country, we are way developed beyond what and I mean, we could have done much more, but looking at what we have,
Yeah.
we are poised for success. And then we have subgroups in our communities that mentally they haven't grown and they are stagnated similarly. So when I said I was depressed, it's like my brain is linking what I'm reading, what I'm hearing, what I am seeing all together and wondering, are there things that we genetically or we would have grown to be like or behave like over centuries? And though we would have moved locations, our mindsets never shifted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think so. I think it passed down in our DNA, and then there has been so much focus on the past that we don't see the opportunities of the present for the future.
Yeah. And then when we do focus on the past, we truly don't know what their past was like. I mean, a lot of people like to talk about their ancestors did this and that, but you truly do not know
True.
for real
True.
what they were experiencing, who they were as a people. And we just randomly throw out the terms that our ancestors in Africa, you don't know what they were
True.
doing
True.
and how they were like.
True.
So, and because of that, and all the different things that would have happened during slavery, we don't know if we were cognitively afflicted or physiologically afflicted. I mean, the reason why I'm saying this like this, I would have read a study recently where they would have done some testing on some persons who were in a war-torn country that experienced extreme famine.
Mm-hmm.
And in that extreme famine, persons' bodies started to genetically adapt.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 generations down, they tested the children, and the children's bodies were prepared for famine despite the economy totally bouncing back. There was no scarcity of food or anything like that. So if that could happen in your DNA,
Yes,
and they
it's
were finding
definitely
certain traits. What could have happened with us during the transatlantic slave trade? What could have happened with us before? For centuries in Africa, that we cannot explain why we behave, how we behave, and who we are.
right. I totally agree. It definitely, I believe, passes down through the DNA like any other traits. And
Yeah,
the thing now is for us to know this and to apply our knowledge of
knowledge.
it and choose. So, like we people like to say things like, oh, it's crab in a bucket, fight down and thing. That actually translates to defense in terms of I am having to survive. Right, so I would have visited like the slave castles, and when I visited there, and I heard all the stories of how the slave trade actually started, how we as African people were literally having a good life and trading and doing things, and how these people came, and it was first a trickery and then eventually turned to greed, where our own people sold
Us
us,
into slavery.
right? And from there, all the different hardships that were endured, it was literally like you're in a dungeon, 50 people, they would throw some food in. You literally would kill your brother just to survive.
Yeah.
So that would pass down through the DNA, and now you will have what we call crab in bucket and fight down, and it seems as though
people just fighting each other.
Yeah, you're fighting me, and you think that because you win, I have to fail. All of that is literally what would have been happening however long ago to survive. It's just for us now to have more conversation on it.
Yeah.
And to realize, okay, well, it's not a case anymore.
Yeah, and what I do believe though is that we have opportunity. That's the difference. We have opportunity and we have range. We have the ability to actualize the opportunities. So despite what would have happened then, I don't think that it should wholly and solely be the determinant to what type of future we should have
Definitely
going forward. But this was such a beautiful segue because, I mean, I love to ask people about travel and the things that they experience, because you never know. You never know why you operate, or certain subsectors of people operate how they do. And sometimes these conversations act as somewhat of a linkage. I mean, not all the time we would have it 100% down pack as to what and what would probably come together to bring this as a main reason, or as a main statue of identity or whatever. But at least it does give us hints or some sort of direction as to why we act how we behave, how we do. But what else was birthed out of that Ghana trip? Because I know you didn't stay. What else did you happen from there?
What happened was maybe 3 months in, I was without electricity one night. The mosquitoes came. The generator wasn't able to come on. And I decided I'm going to cut my losses and come home, because I have been through too many things and I felt like my money was going down too fast. I'm somebody I like to always have in advance. And that's when Jade came to me and said, Mommy, I know you want to go home, but I don't think God wants you to do that. At this time, Jade did not want to be there, so I knew for a fact that was not Jade speaking to me. And so I decided to just surrender and to just see what's, happening. So there I went into, actually my phone crashed and I had silence. I couldn't go on Google. I couldn't do anything. I had to look in the mirror, look within. So while I was praying, meditating, I asked the Holy Spirit, like, what do you want of me then, And I heard, like, within a voice that said, well, I want you to use what's in your hands. What do you have in your hands? And I said, I have nothing in my hands. He said, that's not true.
These hands? You sure about that?
Yeah, and I
those hands that you're holding like this, you sure?
Yeah, the voice said to me, what have you been doing since you came to Ghana? So I said, I have been writing and crying. He said, forget the crying. What have you been doing? Writing, right? He said, okay, well then you have your writing in your hand. Okay, and sometimes we would be allowed to go into different situations with to birth gifts. So we don't just have one gift. We have many different gifts, but sometimes we don't have the opportunity to hone it and to bring it out, right? And when I said, okay, so what can I do with this writing? Nobody knows me as this writer. I just published one children book how many years ago that I never even like, really follow up so much on. So and then he said, you just write. And from there, that led to something that I call Shiv Talks. And it literally just started off with the hardship of Ghana. The first episode was the art of falling forward. It was on Zoom. I charged 100 TT and I had about 40 people show up and pay.
Beautiful.
And that's how I got money to like another month or two of food, because we in Ghana you have to prepay your housing. So I had paid for the whole 6 months in advance. From there, now we are on episode 9 coming soon, and I'm only doing 10 episodes in that format.
Yeah.
And then it would change again to something else, public speaking, going seminars, or use those 10 episodes to show up in different spaces. If you're having a retreat, if you need me to talk on a particular topic that I already covered. We did many beautiful topics: jealousy, feminine energy, masculine energy, balancing, all the things that actually were happening in life, how to start again, how to let go, all those things. So that was one thing that was baited. And then from there, surprisingly, we baited a book as well. That was the story of Ghana, planted, not buried, the sweet potato principle. That's the name of it. Yeah. And I have that book as an ebook. It's available to persons for just 45 TT. Yeah. So
very beautiful.
If you want to read about that.
Very, very beautiful. And you know what? I love how God shows up in people's life. I mean, sometimes we really do feel down and out, like, oh my God, I have nothing. I have nothing to go on.
Yeah.
But God uses that time where you feel like you have nothing to do everything.
True.
You really have to make yourself less so that God could
True.
be, could use you, as a matter of fact. Because I feel like when life is going great and phenomenal and nothing is happening, I feel like I'm having this epiphany. Because every time life goes so amazing, you almost forget God.
True.
Like you get so comfortable in relaxing in just the blessings, and nothing is off. So you can pay your own bills. You forget it's God that's paying the bills for you. You are able to go do all your hobbies as you want to, and you forget to center.
True.
You forget to center. And I know, for me, because I can only share my experience, every time I felt like if I had fallen flat on my face, the only person that I could speak to was God. Not my parents, not my friends, not like, it was so incredible how I could 360, not even 360, but 180. I will 180 and turn right back to God one time.
True.
But when things are going good, it's amazing how you'll be like, oh, God, I could only give 5 minutes in prayer.
Yeah.
Or I can't, I mean, I have developed over time this beautiful practice of talking to God like my best friend. So I'll be in my car. Did any of you ever see me on the road and I'm just giggling in my car, minding business? Me and God in there having a conversation. And it's because that, I don't want to move out of this relationship.
True.
And I want to feel as though I could mention anything to God and be happy about it. Or even if it's my stresses, or because I mean, I don't want any autoimmune diseases. I don't want to be carrying the burden of hate, unforgiveness, not having compassion. Sometimes it's even to self-check me, because the amount of time God is like, and you think that's the best that you could have done.
True.
Girl, it is really worse. But God corrects everybody that He loves.
True.
So it's all there for a reason.
It's so true. And I want to just add that even if it is, you might be sinning, so to speak, you could still definitely go to God with that as well, especially like broken hearts. Even if you were in a relationship and you wasn't married and all, you can still go to God with that as well. Like, there's nothing that is too much or too bad. You could go to Him and He will actually direct you out. That happened to me. I had a broken heart before, and now I'm much better.
Much better. Yeah. Excellent. Now, if it's one thing, God heals, and every day, like, there's certain scriptures that kind of stick with me, because the devil comes to tell you, He ain't really forgive you, or you may feel the hurt.
Condemnation,
You feel the hurts of the things that you would have done, or the things that you would have said, or the experiences that you would have faced. And this is something that I say to myself: how far does God carry the things that he forgives you for? How far does it go? As far as the east
It's from the
is from the
west.
west.
Yeah.
And where are you? You're in the center. You're in the center.
So that's a
You're in the
beautiful
center.
thought to have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so far from you.
Yeah.
You can't go as far east to find it or as far west to find it. So why are you burdening
Very comforting. I
yourself?
like that.
Yeah, because you have to kind of, I believe that the Bible is your manuscript, and I know that sounds like so solid, like it's a rubric or something, but even if you don't read the whole thing, the little tidbits, you can carry them
Yeah,
with you.
it's powerful.
It is so powerful, and you could literally apply it almost anywhere in your
True.
life, you know. So you don't have to know the Bible back and front, like in your brain, but
True.
having little scriptures or little tidbits,
Mm-hmm.
they can motivate you, and sometimes they just come to you in the way of songs. They come to you when you sit with yourself, or somebody may be saying something and this scripture pops up in your mind.
True, connecting, yeah.
Connecting, and that's the beauty of the Christian walk.
Mm-hmm.
It is. So with you saying, you know, you wrote this book, buried but not planted, planted but not buried, right?
Yeah.
It just goes to show that there is still growth ongoing.
It's, of course.
And God's hand is still in it.
I'll tell you, like a few years ago in Tobago, I was going through this really rough patch, and it was almost like a little mini vision. I had a conversation where I heard, have you considered the sweet potato, how it grows? And I said, no. He said, okay, well, think about the sweet potato. It's under the earth. Do you know the pressure of the earth? It's dark, it's cramped, and the sweet potato grows in that immense pressure. I want you to think about if the sweet potato had free will like a human. Do you think you would have ever tasted a sweet potato? The potato would run out of the earth and say, this can never be God, this can never be right, it's dark, it's cramped, it's painful. And it will run down the highway. You see these half-grown tubers running down the highway. You'll never get to taste it, right?
So your imagination just run away.
Yeah, that's exactly what I saw. And then I was like, okay, he said, well, this is what you're doing. As humans, you are coming out of your process because you think it's too hard, too dark, too much pressure. You will never become whole. You'll never be good for someone to be nourished by you, to eat more or less, to be nourished by you. So back now, years later, and that's when it came back to me in Ghana. I'm like, oh, wow, so I'm actually a sweet potato now. And it really encouraged me to think about it vividly like that, because everything works for your good, and what's meant for your harm turns around for your good. So no matter what, so long as you're with God, it's for your good. So stop running away from the process. And that's when I surrendered. It's not easy. It is not easy. I did cry and everything, but I did see the double for trouble in the end.
All right, so guys, this was more than a mouthful. I feel like all of us could take something from what Shivon would have said today. Shivon, I love that you use the analogy of pressure. You know, you really do need that pressure.
We need it.
I mean, does it feel good? No. Do you like the experiences? Probably not. But in hindsight, yes, you see the purpose, and you see that you needed it, because it definitely shapes you and it definitely grows you.
True.
All right. So guys, I think that's it for us this week. We had a very interesting conversation. Shivon, you're welcome back on set at any time. We'll just take this opportunity for you to tell us all about your delicious new venture, because Shivon does have a very delicious, very scrumptious looking venture. And then we'll wrap the program. So you'll tell us not only about that venture, but also how we can reach you if we need massages, or we want to contact you about your book.
Okay. Well,
So you're looking right here for me, Center.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here.
Here,
Yeah.
right. Okay. Okay, so I offer a Tobago Sunkissed pizza. It's very unique, just like the massage, because I can't seem to do anything traditionally. So instead of putting pizza sauce onto the dough, I use a choker base. So the two main ones that people love, the dough is made with beetroot, not powder, real beetroot. It's a beetroot with black seed infused dough. Then we put melon choker, and then we put 5 toppings onto that, which is green olives with pimento, purple onion rings, pimento pepper slices, fried plantain chunks, which I roll in cornmeal and cinnamon and then fry in coconut oil, and also finally pineapple, right? Then you have the option of chicken breast chunks with that, or you could just leave it vegetarian, which is very delicious. I use a vegetarian cheddar, so it's not as heavy, it's not oily. It's just really a mouth-watering experience, an explosion of all the different
Flavors.
savory and sweet and little spice, and it's just really nice. And the other one is like a pumpkin coconut dough with okra. When you cut your okra fine, fry it up. It's not slimy or anything like that. You put that as the base and the same options as well. So I just started doing that. May the first was the first one, and every first of every month I'm going to be doing it. So if that sounds like something that you'd like, I also have vegan option too. The cheese, Violife, if you want that as
Mm-hmm.
well. And it's 8 slices. It's between 180 to 200. 180 for vegetarian, 200 for vegan or chicken, and it's worth it, right? That's what I've been up to. But coming in the future, we will add more things. Me being a vegetarian now and most likely moving towards being a vegan, I want to offer something like for people with food sensitivities. I was never focused on that ever before. People who can't have milk, who can't have this, who can't have that. How would it feel for you to be able to go to a place and know for a fact there's nothing that would bother you and you could just eat
Mm-hmm.
delicious food, everything, and you could go home and feel good? That's what I want to offer in the future, but I can't do everything at once, one
Yeah.
thing at a time. And so
Excellent.
we're sticking with the pizza for now, right?
All right. And how do we get at you if we want to get you for any of your services?
Okay, it's 479-6629. You could WhatsApp me, you could call me. Also, you can message me anytime you want, midnight, 1 a.m. It doesn't matter. Once I'm awake, I would respond. Just note that it's a professional service. There's no The happy ending you'll have is feeling good at the end, right? So there's no funny business in it. I have to say that because
Yeah.
sometimes people get the idea that massage could have add-ons. The only add-on is the miraculous experience, right? That's the add-on difference of it, making it
Amen.
clear. Four
Amen.
seven nine 6629 WhatsApp call. I'm very open, friendly, and I can adapt. The reset experience starts from 800 and it goes all the way to 3,500 depending on what you need. So we will have a conversation. Also, you don't need to do that monthly. Once you have a reset, you're good. Some people good for 2 years, some people good depending, just like a car, how hard you work yourself, might be six
Yeah.
months, a year, but it's not just a rub down and you have to come back next 10 minutes.
Okay, very nice. So, guys, that was Miss Shivon Mejias and all her amazing experiences. Guys, I hope you learned something and I honestly, this conversation blessed me. It blessed me so much. It was so enlightening. So, guys, I can't wait to see you all again for another episode of the podcast. And as I usually tell you all, stay tenaciously resolute in all that you do and have a fantastic week ahead. Bye.
Hi.
Ariane? Yeah. Welcome to the Tenaciously Resolute Podcast.